Hello, I'm Geekis, and this is my first attempt in creating a detailed tutorial on how to set a tree on fire. Before we start, I want to mention that I'm not a professional game developer, but a mere enthusiast who is sharing his modest bank of knowledge. All the ideas and ways of creating these game mechanics can be done in several ways. The method I'm going to show is just one way that I find convenient to work with. Let's put a tree on the map. Then, start by placing a logic torus and selecting the logic component called speaker. Think of the speaker as an if-then statement. You can program it to send a message when it detects an entity, item, or receives a message. Before we move on, let's make this fire torch. Okay, back to the Game Maker. Inside the speaker component, you can remove any text to display and set the display duration to 0 to avoid pop-up messages. But it might be helpful to set the duration to 3 seconds and write on in the text to display section. This will help you know your logic is working. When you're done with your entire game, you can clear these sections. Rotation duration is handy. If you set it to, let's say, 5 seconds, it takes that long to detect your player or an item. For this tutorial, we'll set it to 2 seconds, so it will detect our avatar only after 2 seconds of engaging. This is important. If you want rotation duration to work, you must activate Look at Target. Without it, the rotation duration will be disabled. Keep the speak condition at detect entity so it looks for any moving subject instead of waiting for a message. Detection type should be set to specific tags in range, meaning we're only detecting objects marked with a tag within a certain range. In the Include Tag section, write setFire1. I like to use lowercase letters for tag messages. If there's even one symbol mismatch with your object tag, it won't work, so less room for mistakes. You can play with the detection shape, but for our case, we'll use a sphere. It's simple. Set the detection range to 2. I will type fire1 in the message to send section. You can use any naming you want, and I use capital letter in messages to distinct it from tags. For broadcast type, also use specific tags in range and set the broadcast range to 4 or 5. Create a broadcast tag fire1 in lowercase. This will send fire1 message to any object that is marked with the tag of fire1. Set broadcast duration to once. That means it'll send the message just once when you walk into detection radius. If you set it to duration or forever, it'll send messages rapidly, which we don't want. Now our speaker component is ready to work. Let's move on to the next part. Let's choose an asset that looks like a source of fire for realism and place it near a tree. Start with the new torus. Select the VFX torus effect and pick the fire visual effect. Enabled at start. Then, in VFX attributes, choose global scale and set it to size 2 for better visibility. Name this torus Ignition. Now, this creates a fire effect in mid-air. Let's see how it looks like. We want this effect to act like a burning torch. To achieve this, add another torus. Select the pickable component. The grab offset determines the asset's positions when picked up by an avatar. Align it with your torch's tip so it looks like the flame is from the torch. For my specific torch, the grab offset is x 0.8, y minus 0.5, and z minus 1. You can ignore other settings. Let's name this torus picking fire. So now we have two toruses. One is ignition and the other one is picking fire. Now navigate to the hierarchy section. It's helpful to give unique names to your logic toruses and game mechanics to easily identify them later. So in this case, inside the hierarchy, drag ignition onto picking fire. This creates a parent-child relationship. Now, if you move picking fire in the 3D space, the ignition torus will move together because we made the ignition a child of a picking fire. Now that they are connected, tag either or both toruses with setFire1 tag. Remember, we set our speaker earlier to detect the setFire1 tag and send a fire1 message after 2 seconds. Let's test if the speaker can detect this fire. Okay, it works. Now, add another torus and assign it the asset spawner behavior. Slide Use preset to true. Let's name it Fire Spawner. Return to the ignition and pickable fire toruses, select both, and create a new preset by clicking on this icon. You can call it whatever you want. Now, apply this preset to the Fire Spawner torus. Ensure that the message required is set to interact. This means an avatar must approach this torus, and when it presses keyboard button E, it will trigger an interact message to the asset spawner, which then spawns your preset. In this case, it will spawn our ignition and fire picker assets as one parent object. Inside the asset spawner torus, add an indicator and set its display interact text. I've chosen to write set your torch on fire. You can write whatever you want, maybe ignite or turn on or whatever you like. Now disable any unnecessary functions. Time for a test run. Part 3. Let's ignite the tree. Create a new torus and add a visual FX behavior. Pick the regular fire from the list. Now let's slide enable that start to false. We don't want it to start. The message to turn on should be fire1. Remember the fire1 message? We're using it in our main detection speaker to spot our lit torch to start this fire. Tag this torus with fire1 at the bottom. Now, for the message to turn it off, type in stop fire. This stops the fire when the tree is all burned. Play with the VFX settings or copy mine. Add a speaker inside this VFX torus. Put a 1-second delay with the rotation duration. This gives a pause before spreading the fire. Change detect entity to wait for message. Now, type in fire1 for the message it needs. Type fire2 for the message it sends. For broadcast type, pick specific tags in range. Adjust the broadcast range to cover your next fire spot and set the tags to fire2. Copy this whole torus, move it up on the tree, swap fire1 for fire2 message, but leave stop fire as is, because we will kill all the fires with one message. Here's the magic. The first speaker catches fire and then lights up the second, after 1 second pause. Adjust the first speaker's rotation duration to change the delay time. It can be 10, 20, 50 seconds or whatever you please. Great job! You can now make a fire spread. For more fire, just repeat these assets, play with rotation duration, and add an extra number to the message number. Part 4. Let's burn down the tree. Pick the tree and add replace asset behavior. Slide use preset to true. Tag your tree as tree. And in this logic, add stop fire to message required. So as you notice, our fire and tree is sharing the same stop fire message. We will later send an impulse to kill both tree and fire. Now, imagine you burn the tree. Think of how it will look. Is it ashes, logs, a dried out desert tree? Well, I'll choose the last one. I'll place this desert tree next to the healthy one. Now, are you ready for Inception paradox mechanics? Add replace asset to your desert tree or ashes, or whatever item you want. Slide use preset to true. Type in grow as the needed message. And most importantly, tag it dry tree. Save this as a preset, naming it burned tree. Click the healthy tree. In the preset section box, find the burn tree preset. Double check if your healthy tree got a tree tag. Now, save the healthy tree as healthy tree preset. Click on your burn tree and pick the healthy tree preset. And now, save over the burn tree as a preset again. So that's some kind of inceptional paradox, but it's a very cool idea. So what did we do? We made a loop. This healthy tree turns into dry one, and the dry one turns back green. We control this change with messages coming from our Fire VFX speakers. I'll get back to it later. Remove the burn tree from the view. Just delete it, because now we have it saved as a preset. Add a new torus by the tree. Then, for its speaker, set it to wait for message. Put burned in the message required section. Then, once it receives burned, it should send stop fire message. Pick specific tags in range and adjust the range to cover all fire toruses. Add tags fire 1, fire 2, and 3. Also, very important, don't forget to tag this torus burn control. Okay, now find your final fire torus, the one that is the last to ignite. So in this case, we have this torus, the one that's waiting for fire 2 message. Change its output message to burned. This message will travel to burn control torus. With rotation duration, you choose how long the fire lasts before sending burned message to burn control tagged objects, which then turns our tree dry and ends the fire. Test it out. And if you want the dry tree to turn green again, add a torus next to it, add rotation duration of 10 seconds. Set it to wait for stop fire. Now make it send a grow message. Because we added a grow message inside the burn tree preset, remember? So when burn tree preset receives grow message, it will replace itself into healthy tree. It's very important that this grow message target has a dry tree tag. In our case, it does. Now enter our first detection speaker, and inside broadcast tags, we also need to include a new tag, which we will call grow. Now head back to our previous speaker and tag this grow. So now the first speaker is sending message to the broadcaster with grow tag. Let's see how it looks in action. Okay, it seems like it's working. Well done. I hope it was pretty easy to follow and you did a good job. Now, it's your turn. Here's a challenge for you. The first one to accomplish this and send a proof in the Twitter comments will receive a nice Sandbox Marketplace wearable NFT. Currently, our first logic torus always looks for set fire 1, which is your lit torch. This means endless fires, even with a dry tree, because this torus is always listening for set fire 1 object tag. So if you walk in and out endlessly in the detection range, it will endlessly create new fires. So we will have an endless loop, which is not realistic. Your task: the speaker shouldn't be listening for any more messages until the tree burns down and regrows again. Let's go! Thank you for watching. Sharing this with you is a joy. Remember, every great creator started with the basics, with small projects, and with a desire to learn. As you go forward, carry with you not just the things you potentially learned from today, but also the passion to innovate and determination to overcome any challenges that comes your creative developer way. I think Sandbox now really needs innovative thinkers who can create and deliver very interesting experiences. Please hit like and retweet, and make sure to follow me for more. The best reward you could give me is your thumbs up. Thank you very much. It was me, Geekis.